Afternoon, folks. East of Eden grower Creedmoor here. You're joining me here to see how I plant my sweet basil. Anyway, this is a Ferry Morris brand of sweet basil. Works every year. Gonna use it today. You're actually looking at an older portion of my garden. This right here is roughly 8 years old, or maybe a little bit longer. Up there higher is a little bit older, and as we go down towards the bottom of the garden, it gets just a little bit younger because it took us some time to build it all and get it all together. I'm sure a lot of you people are experiencing that yourselves. Sometimes you have to start out a little bit small and add on to it and add on to it as you go. In this case, this is a reflection of that. So I wanted to plant something in some, I should say, I'm almost giggling about it, but somewhat more of a fertile soil base than one of my last videos where I showed you and it was 2 or 2.5 year old soil. It's a little bit different, but there's plenty of gardeners out there, plenty of growers out there been doing this a whole lot longer. And in this particular case, I'm going to actually rake back some of the top heavy cover just so that you can see I don't have to go very far before I get to the fertility layer below. Just above me and outside of the white boundaries that I put in here, these little row markers, it's not 2 rows, it's just a 4 foot by 5 foot box I'm going to put plants in. Just above me is an old pre-existing stand of walking onions that has been living here for years and years and years. I've said this in previous posts before. Walking onions, it is an absolute fantastic crop to plant if you want to break down a heavy chip cover. And that's our woodpecker. He's trying to interrupt or hijack my show. Anyway, back to the Growgram. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape back some of this stuff with my rake. I'm going to show you how well broken down the soil is, even though I have had to add some chips over to the top of this. Just last fall I did, and if I were to just use my hand, you can see I'm already getting into the meat of it. I could actually plant right here. I won't. What I'm going to do is get a little rake. Y'all can pay close attention. You can see the color of the chips, the color of the soil gets darker. There's plenty of white mycelia over there. I'm not sure if the camera will make it out, but I'm just going to basically rake back this top stuff. There's a little tiny weed right there, more mycelia. We got plenty of mycelia in this garden. And I am bringing these loose, heavy chips to the bottom, mostly for convenience. I'm standing here right next to one of my apple trees, and I don't really walk here throughout the season, so it's okay for me to plant close. It's okay for me to deposit stuff close here. I'll be walking up above in this area. A lot of people have asked me, they say, hey, Creedmoor, do you like walk all over your chips and stuff? I do. I really do. And I do because every time you step on a wood chip, squeezes a little moisture out, draws a little moisture in. Just the nature of them. And you can already see here, this is fairly rich. Now, if I was to go get my pitchfork or broad fork, I could break this up and you'd see it's even richer. But the whole concept behind no till, no dig, no turn, no toil, no none of that nonsense is to establish your soil-based organisms in a matrix of soil that's undisturbed most all of the time. Standing on it, walking on it doesn't necessarily disturb it. What does disturb it is breaking it all up and spreading it all over the place. In this case, all I did was take the top cover back. In my pocket, I got some seeds. My hands, I can dig here. I could put gloves on. I could use a pocket knife, which I usually carry around. I could use a black magic marker. All of these things work great as planting aids because all you have to do is establish a little spot for a seed to sit where the rain won't wash it out of your soil, and then put 2 or 3 in there. And then I'll move over. I've got a ruler back here real handy. It's showing me exactly how big my beds are. I wanted to make this one 5 feet long. So I could conceivably go every 10 to 12 inches and swirl out a little hole. Oh, there's a little worm there. I could move him over. Swirl out another little hole and swirl out a hole on the end. I don't really need much more than that. Basil, they grow tall really, really quick, and they're highly susceptible to being blown over by the wind as a result of that, or damaged by the wind. So I'm actually planting them back here because they get a lot of sun. We've determined that this area gets about 7 or 8 hours of sunlight, very hard, very strong sunlight every single day throughout the spring season, and even more in the summer. That's more than enough for basil to do its thing. It'll allow its roots to grow deep during the rainy season, and it'll give me a stronger anchorage into the soil to help prevent falling over in high winds. After they've been established and they're about 1.5 feet tall, I will put cages over them. The cages tend to help keep them from falling over. They keep the branches upright a little bit more, help my pollinators just a touch, and since it works, we do it. Anything that works, we do it again and again until it stops working. So anyway, right here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants. I'm going to come over towards the center. We all know that basil likes to grow in this soil, so I'm only going to do 3 simple rows, and they're all going to go basically in the same location. Every 12 inches or so, I'll put another couple of seeds. Will they all grow? I don't know. They usually do. If they don't, I'll plant something else, or I'll put more seeds in the ground. It's pretty simple, folks. If something doesn't grow, plant another seed. If it doesn't grow after you planted another seed, pick a different crop, pick a different location, try again, experiment with something else. But whatever you do, never give up. It's that simple. You can never be successful if you're giving up. Okay, do basil like to be planted really deep? Not really, about 1/4 inch is all. My hole's deeper than that, and the reason my hole's deeper than that is because I'm only gonna put 1/4 inch of soil on top of them. And those of you saying, hey, well, you're not planting in the dirt. Well, you know I don't plant in the dirt. That's not gonna happen. But I will plant in the chips. I will plant in the chip compost. I will plant in my seasonal soil blend that I make up. But I do not need to make that up in this older section of the garden. It's just not required. I've got seed sorters and things like that that you can use. But to keep things simple, I'm going to bring this seed in here. This is a basil seed, and it's very, very small. I don't know if the camera will pick up on that. Hopefully it does. Let's go in the ground. Nothing very scientific about this approach. All I'm doing is basically mimicking what Mother Nature does. This is a crop rotation year for basil for us. We grew them for 2 years in another location that's more towards the sun right now. And we decided we wanted to move them because just opposite me, I've got a crop of celery that I want to provide shade for. I know my basil always grows to 4 or 5 feet tall. Many of these bushes will be too big and they'll be bumping into each other, so the cages help with that. And at the end of the year, when it starts to cool off, they'll be harvested. The entire plants will be brought inside my facility, and they'll be hung upside down to dry. At that point, we're free to collect seeds. We're free to do whatever it is that's necessary at that point. Most of the time, we just get it good and dry, and then it gets bagged up and ends up in my spaghetti sauce. What do y'all do with your basil? Please, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear what you do. I'd love to hear how you plant. That's different than me. I mean, I like things to be simple. I don't know about y'all, but I got 4 greenhouses, and there's nothing in them this year. Care to know why? This system is so efficient. Every single time I prepare my plant starts in the greenhouse, by the time I go to put them out and harden them, I'm also dropping a seed. By the time they're hardened off enough to be planted in the ground, I already have a plant from seed. That plant is established, it doesn't suffer from transplant shock, and in most cases we're using pre-vetted Eden seeds, so there's an extra great opportunity to have a high-performing plant because of that. And I just don't see the advantage. We use them more just to extend the growing season a little bit, but that's about it. We don't need to. I mean, I'm in the semi-tropic region here. It's the 8B, I think, zone, Piedmont, North Carolina. And it's warm, it's hot, it's wicked hot here. We get enough rain, you think you're in Panama. Stuff just grows fast here. It also dies quick, so if you're not careful and you're not patient, you can be presiding over a whole lot of dead crops or dying or decaying crops because mold grows here and every kind of fungus on the planet grows here. If you've got blight, it'll happen here. Anyway, these will grow strong, hopefully better than my ruler, and we'll have a crop here in about 3 weeks. Thanks for watching.